Hello, welcome to a painting tutorial. Today we're going to paint some faces. We're going to do a typical kind of white skin tone for a Space Marine. We're going to be using these colours here. We'll start with white, base with Kislev Flesh. We'll then wash with a mix of Reikland Flesh Shade, Druchii Violet and Lahmian Medium before highlighting and then glazing with Lupus Pink. Here we're just priming the model with white. I'm using it through an airbrush, pretty simple. Make sure you build up light coats and wait for it to dry properly. Make sure you have smooth coverage, like this. Now, apply a thin coat of Kislev Flesh. Use a brush or an airbrush, whatever you prefer. I'm using an airbrush. Nice even coats all over the model and give it plenty of time to dry. Once you've done that, we're moving on to the washing stage. Thin, even coats with an airbrush is important. If you're going to use a brush, make sure your paint is thin, flows nicely, and build up the colour until you have a solid base coat. Here we are. Now, using Lahmian Medium and Reikland Flesh Shade 1:1 and just a dab of Druchii Violet, we're going to wash it all over the model. Apply it all over, allow it to settle into the recesses, but don't let it pool too much. If you see it pooling, wash your brush, dab it onto a tissue and then wick away any excess. We just want it to go into the recesses without staining any of the top surfaces around the side of the head, the forehead, or too much around the eyes. If you want a stronger wash, just apply a second coat once it's dry. Here we go. This is what we've got so far. Really focus it near the back of the head as well, where it meets that collar or outer of the helmet. Next, using white and Kislev Flesh 1:1 roughly, and just a touch of Flow-Aid or a bit of water, we're going to just apply our highlights now. Focus on the nose, the eyebrows, the cheekbones, the chin, and the lips. Aim more for the top lip or the bottom lip if it's protruding more. Have a look at the sculpt from a side angle and you'll be able to find out which one that is. As well, if you want to, make sure you catch the top of the ear. Normally it's the right ear they have exposed. I also picked out a couple of frown lines on the forehead to help build up a bit of character. It's really down to preference. Remember, less is more. You don't need to go highlighting too far, but whatever you're happy with. If your model has scars like mine, make sure you highlight the scars as well. Remember, keep your paint thin, make sure it's flowing smoothly. Try on the back of your nail, for example, a glove, or just a piece of paper. And yeah, keep a fine point as well, really helps. When I highlighted the nose, I broke it down to the 3 points. The bit just below the eyebrow, the middle part of the nose, and then the very tip of the nose as well. That's how I did mine personally. It's really down to the sculpt. Mine had like a little bump in the nose. This is how we're looking so far. Now using Volupus Pink and plenty of water, thin it down onto your palette to a glaze consistency. Then use the brush to apply some to your brush, obviously, and then wick it away on the paper. Try on the back of the nail and you should be able to just get a small thin filter of the colour. So your nail will look slightly more pink than it was before. Apply this into the scars. I also applied it onto the cheeks and also a little bit on the side of the head and the forehead as well, just for a bit of colour. You'll see it here in the clip now while I do. But this is to break up all the Kislev flesh and create a bit of variety. You can do a second pat if you want to. I know a lot of people like to do people's noses and cheeks a little bit more red. A bit of colour and a bit of character. Typically you see red noses on dwarves. This is a Space Marine, I'm only going for tabletop. So it's really dependent on how much detail you want to add. Some people like to use teals and purples as well. You could use Shire's purple, possibly Achillean green as well if you've got some. You can experiment. I just know Volupus Pink works pretty well. Also around the laugh lines as well on a Space Marine, that works pretty well to have Volupus Pink applied thinly into. For the scars, I did a second pass just to make sure it was really dark and really kind of worn battle tissue. You know, it's been opened once, maybe twice potentially, been sealed up with maybe a nail or some sort, you know, in the midst of battle. It's really down to personal preference. But yeah, this is roughly where we'll be at with our Space Marine now. There's not much details left to do with the Space Marine, of course. You probably have hair to do. My finished result, I did it with ginger hair, and I have started to pick up the eyes. But to do it on camera, my camera's not that great, to be honest. It's a little difficult, but base the eyeball white. If you've got a micron pen, go with that. Otherwise, brace your hands, be careful, and just have a crack. For the hair, I used Trollslayer orange and mixed a bit of white into there to layer and highlight. But yeah, hope you're happy with the result.